Greetings to all those watching. Today I will be discussing why pregnant women should not be punished for exposing her fetus to risk. The media often sheds a negative light on pregnant mothers who take drugs. Most of the time, we don't know how they look, or we don't even know their name. Yet the media sways us in a way that we judge these mothers negatively, which is unfair. Pregnant women are being criminally charged for taking drugs while pregnant and being sent to jail and/or prison. They are given little to no help by hospitals or clinics because of this drug addiction. The social issue at hand is women exposing her fetus to the dangers of drugs. Pregnant women who endanger their unborn child are seen as irresponsible. In the late 80s, all forms of media outlets, such as newspapers and television, were talking about the damaging effects of drug use in mothers. The Time magazine ran a story called "Crack Kids," saying, "Their mothers use drugs, and now it's the children who suffer." By the late 80s, crack babies and crack kids were seen as dangerous and counterproductive. The public responded to this media with outrage towards all pregnant women who use drugs. Women were arrested in almost 30 states whose infants tested positive for drugs or alcohol. They were charged with child abuse, which is now labeled fetal abuse. Others, like Jennifer Johnson from Florida, were charged with delivery of drugs to a minor. Here, the prosecutor argued that the drugs were delivered to the baby through the umbilical cord after the baby was born, but before the cord was cut. Others were charged with assault with a deadly weapon, cocaine in this instance, and homicide if the infant died once born. Some ethical questions here are: why would a mother put her own child in danger? Why would she have a child if she's a drug addict? Why not seek help from family or from institutions? Well, to better answer these questions, I think it is important to take into account the pregnant woman's point of view. Most of the time, emphasis is placed on the safety of the fetus, but we need to take into account the mother has a life as well. No one life is important than the other, and when we strictly focus on the fetus, we're neglecting the fact that the mother's life is also in jeopardy. Pregnant women, for the most part, are not abusing drugs just for the high. They have real issues that they are facing. Most pregnant mothers who are on drugs are denied medical treatment and housing for the homeless. They are not hired by any business because of their addiction, so money is a hardship. Most of these women are also in toxic relationships. Levine includes a study in her book that says 70% of women who are pregnant and abuse drugs were in violent relationships. Some were raped as children. Just like a veteran soldier, pregnant women use drugs to dull the pain of past experiences. In a utilitarian point of view, it would not be ethical for a pregnant woman to be punished for exposing her fetus to risk. By doing so, you would be causing pain to the mother, who would face criminal charges because of something she may have no control over. Her baby may also grow up without a mother. The father and family of the mother, who would have an extra burden of caring for a child without his or her mother, and no one would receive pleasure. It would be unethical for a pregnant woman on drugs to be punished in terms of the social contract theories. All people should have the right to govern themselves according to this theory. All people should be able to make their own choices, whether they be right or wrong. It would be ethical for a pregnant woman on drugs to be punished according to deontology. According to this theory, the person who punishes the woman who is on drugs has a duty or obligation to do what is right. In this case, what is right is to do whatever is necessary in order to save the unborn child. Punishing a pregnant woman on drugs is ethical according to Aristotle's virtue ethics. According to this theory, punishing the pregnant woman who is taking drugs because that is the virtuous thing to do. In conclusion, many pregnant women face many obstacles and they have nowhere to go for help. I do not believe that penalties like jail are justified. Instead, I think that recovery programs are the best option for these mothers. Instead of punishment, we should extend extra support for them in the forms of prenatal health care, counseling sessions, as well as things like food, clothes, and housing if they need it. Instead of looking down on these women in the newspapers and television, we should do our best to help them by raising money and awareness for their issues. And that's all. Thank you all for watching.